Hello everyone, today I'm bringing you a review of 3 different grenades, a comprehensive comparison of 3 types of grenades. This episode will cover a lot of information and the content will be relatively long, so take your time watching, but I promise the content in this episode is really solid and packed with useful details, especially in the middle section. This one is from Black Final, also known as BV. It's a red, fully customized grenade, and we're the first to release it online. Currently, there isn't any other organization or team on the market doing something like this. This is a fully customized BV device with a red faceplate, so the content of this video is really quite significant. Longtime customers and veteran players should definitely take a good look and get to know it. If you like these models, apart from the one in the middle, the ones on both sides are very familiar, our regulars. Many watch enthusiasts have seen my previous reviews of this watch. I've filmed quite a few episodes about it. The reason I'm talking about it again today is that we've made some adjustments to the details, and I wanted to share those with everyone. As for this one, many players have also seen it before. It's from this custom line. Actually, this is also a custom model, but currently there's a factory called ZF making this watch on the market. However, the one we have this time is a fully custom piece, which is still different from ZF's version. So today, I'll be talking about all 3 watches together, and there will be quite a bit of content. Let's take a look together. First, let's talk about this grenade model. We've previously done a very detailed review of it, so if you're interested, you can check out that review. This is a modification we made based on the 3K version. As for the movement, it still uses the new 330 movement, the 330 series movement. The integrated structure and thickness of the 330 movement are present, right? What we did was, based on the 3K version, we modified the dial, the hands, and the date display. The dial, hands, and date, because the original 3K date display was relatively thin and small, while ours is larger, bolder, and also more accurate to the original. We've talked about this issue many times, so interested players can check it out. In addition, the color of the original 3K dial on the market tends to look yellowish, whereas in this one, in the transition between black and grey, the overall look of the dial tends to appear somewhat yellowish as it ages. But if we look at the colour of our dial, it's predominantly black and grey. This fan-shaped colour gradient is more gradual, more pleasing, and much closer to the original version. Moreover, the hands from 3K and the indices on the Van dial, the small square indices, have an overall greenish tint, whereas ours is basically more on the white side, with just a hint of green within the white. There's also the ZF version, but since it's not an integrated movement and its functionality, thickness, and structure don't match the original, we won't discuss it here. It's not worth mentioning. But there's one more thing. The OM we made before, that replacement dial, the color of the genuine date hand grenade is also a bit greenish, which is actually closer to this one. Take a look at the watch's condition, especially the color of the hands, the color of the luminous paint on the hands, and the color of the dial's hour markers, like at 12, 1, and 2 o'clock, the small square blocks above them. The color of these markers has a slight greenish tint. This kind of green is similar to the one we used in our previous custom dials. The current, slightly whiter shade is what we use in our current dials. Both of these dial types are fine compared to the genuine product, because as we know, the authentic hand grenade models have both the 324 and 330 movements, depending on the period. There are 2 versions, and we only know that there are 2 different periods with different movements. But even based on the older 324 movement version, when we buy genuine hand grenade watches, the dials, hands, and markers we get from different countries and at different times can vary. There are also subtle differences in color. So, when we make customized ODM versions of the hand grenade, the color of the markers and hands can sometimes lean a bit green or a bit white, but both are correct for the model. However, for the 5167, the black hand grenade, and for future models where this will be the main reference, the overall color of the markers and hands tends to be whiter, just a bit whiter, and not as green as before. Because it is now equipped with the 330 movement and already uses the 330 movement, I want to give everyone a detailed explanation about this aspect. That's the situation. As for this black hand grenade, it uses the 324 movement, so we are, right, referring to the period when the 324 movement was used. The color of the markers and hands still retains a slightly greenish tint, but it's much lighter than the green from 3K. The 3K green is much deeper. So, just to make this clear for everyone, we've done detailed reviews and comparisons before. If you're interested, you can check out our previous reviews and comparisons, alright? That's the first important point. The second important point is that, aside from the color adjustment, from now on, all of our Nautilus models, whether it's the 5167 or the 5167R, will all feature a solid real axle. All of them will have a solid real axle. Here, I also want to apologize to our longtime customers, because those of you who customized your Nautilus models early on may not have noticed this detail. It's not that I deliberately hid it from you, it's just that, at the time, our technology couldn't overcome this issue. We weren't able to overcome the issue of implementing this kind of solid axle before, but now we've made the breakthrough. So from now on, all custom ODM substitute dial Nautilus models you purchase will have a solid axle, better than the 8K version. Currently, it's the only Nautilus on the market that can achieve a solid axle. I don't know if anyone else has done it, but we've done it, we've achieved it. You can all take a look. The axles are all solid, the axle core stands out. Even on this black one, see? The red hands axle core, the little white face, is very obviously protruding and reflective, and the same goes for this red one. From now on, all of our grenades will have this kind of solid, real axle effect, just so everyone is clear on that. So, regarding this black bracelet, first of all, in the future, the luminous powder on our dial markers and hands will appear white rather than as green as before. This enhances the texture and quality of new models with the new movement for the Duma Triple Series. Secondly, we've achieved real-time performance, truly realizing real-time, genuine axle recommendations, just so everyone is aware. Now, let's set this watch aside and discuss it in more detail. These two rather impressive black Beno models will do. My English isn't great, but let's just call this company BB for short. I haven't found much information or details about this company, because it's not a big project, not like Lycan, Benfold or AT, those well-known modification companies. It's a relatively small modification company, but actually, there are many such small modification companies internationally. Its name is Black Venom, or Venom Black Venom. It's not a slip of the tongue with black. Sorry about that. You can see there's a BV logo here. There's a BV logo here, and the hood is open. This car, the Song Asia, doesn't have power, so let's open the hood and take a look at this logo. It's a BB logo. In fact, when ZF made the Black Final, it was also based on this kind of so-called custom company. However, I didn't see this watch on BV's official website, and there isn't any BB logo on this watch either. You can all take a look, there isn't one. The meaning of Black Venom, when translated, is Black Venom. So, for these two watches, the original authentic versions don't have it either. They are both clean. As for this watch, it's actually based on the limited edition phone from Singapore. The entire watch has been blacked out, with a DLC electroplated black finish. The clasp is also blacked out, and the case is blacked out as well. Let me go over the specs of this watch again. We're still using a custom ODM dial, hands and date display, so you can see the texture of the date window and the dial. It's clearly different from ZF and 3K, and the feel of the size is also different. In addition, we've used the 3K 424 movement instead of the 330, because this watch is a custom model from early 2019. And in 2019, the 330 movement hadn't come out yet, so this watch definitely needs to use the 324 movement to be accurate, right? Some other modders use the 330 movement, but using the 330 movement completely ignores these subtle details. You can all see the 424. Here, the 324 to 360 is a 324 movement, and the picture also matches the 324, but this steel Nautilus uses the 330 movement. You see, the 330 movement, its appearance and engravings are completely different from the 324. So, just keep this in mind. On this modded watch, you need to be clear about this detail. Whether you have it done by me or someone else, this watch must be fitted with the 324 movement to be correct. We based this on the 3K movement and case, and custom made a highly transparent sapphire case back. We did a Singapore limited edition 2019 simple print here, and the whole watch has been blacked out. This is a rough overview of the watch's configuration so you can get a feel for it. This Singapore limited edition watch is also called Black Venom because it's made in black as well, so it's also Black Venom, just without the BV logo on it. Previously, Dabao has already done a very detailed review of this watch, and the dial, hands and date have all been given a biohazard style modification. Apart from the streamlined design, you can check out the review of the Singapore edition. This one, however, is based on the Singapore version, but has been further blacked out, giving it an even darker look. Let me mention another very important point here. Let's take a look at this spot. This is what we're talking about, the spring bars on the clasp. Here there are 4 spring bars, and each one looks like a small round bead locked into the clasp. On this side, there are also 4 ends. Each spring bar has 2 ends. Take a close look at these spring bars and compare them to the ones we get from 3K when we buy straps. See if you can feel the difference. Doesn't it feel very smooth and rounded, almost like a little ball? Even on my BB here, this DV with the black coating, the 4 points of the spring bars are all very rounded, just like a bead. This is a detail that many people in the modding watch industry don't even pay attention to. Take a look, everyone. On the 3K original watch, after aligning the case back, there's a big clasp, right? Everything fits together perfectly, very neat, and you don't get that bead-like feeling, do you? Because on the 3K original version, these 4 spring bar ends aren't rounded, they're flat-topped. So when they're slotted in here, they basically fill the groove completely, with no gaps at the edges. Everything is flush. But on every modded watch we make, at this spot on the case back, We always polish it so that it becomes a rounded, ball-like shape with edges and a bit of a gap, giving it that spherical texture. We take the flat end and polish it into a rounded ball. Why do we do this? Because I noticed that on the original authentic version, the spring bar ends are actually ball-shaped. I just noticed this detail was different, so I changed it. I modified it to match. Shouldn't you all give me a like for this? Even though this little detail might seem pointless whether it's changed or not, I still went ahead and fixed it. I tried to correct every difference we can possibly notice. As for this tube, the reason I didn't polish it is to keep it as is for comparison. You know, whether it's 3K or ZF. These areas weren't done. Of course, after I finish filming this review, I'll take it apart and polish it to achieve the same effect. So on this point, it's not just because I'm a girl, I've really done it. Also, I've posted this watch on the public screen for everyone to see. You can take a look. Back then, it was February 2022. The first time I accidentally came across a picture of this watch on You, I thought it was incredibly beautiful. I said to myself, I want to make this watch, and started accepting pre-orders. Now it's July 2023, and it took me a full year and 5 months to finally finish making this watch. Some of you might not believe it, but I still have to say, I went through so many setbacks along the way, spent so much money, and contacted so many organizations. It really wasn't easy. It took me a whole year and 5 months to finally make this watch. Back then, when I said I was accepting pre-orders, no one else on the entire internet was saying anything like that. No one else said it, only I dared to say something like that. But honestly, I think I really managed to do it. I achieved unity of knowledge and action, even though it took a long time, and I'm not exaggerating. Just for the dial alone, I went to nearly 5 different factories, and made 9 prototypes before I finally got a dial in hands like this, because I've never seen the original authentic version, and the original of this watch, the Black Vino, could sell for nearly $500,000. I couldn't see the real thing, and I couldn't find more information about it. As for these hands, they're entirely blacked out, but whether the original version is matte or polished, it's really hard to tell. It's just not clear. So for the hands on this watch, I actually made 2 versions, one with black polished hands and another with black matte hands. You can just choose whichever texture you prefer. This particular set is fitted with glossy black polished hands. That's why, when people ask why custom work is so much more expensive than regular or mass-produced replicas, it's because there's no volume, it requires repeated adjustments, and the cost of fine-tuning is just too high. It's just too high. For example, if I were to successfully mass produce it now, my cost would drop significantly, but I'm just an individual, not a factory. If I make so many, I can't sell them all. What's the point of mass production? Why bother with mass production? Besides, once you start mass producing, even more problems tend to arise. Many people who often buy these letter-marked watches know just how risky our industry is and how many problems there are. So, for small businesses, it's about being stable, not about getting big. When I do business, each deal is just a single transaction. I never thought about taking this business public. It's not allowed. As long as I can make some money. As long as this money is enough to support my family, that's good enough for me. I don't have the capacity for mass production, so there's no need for anyone to say, let me work with you, I'll invest in you. You can go ahead and do it boldly, but sorry, I do not dare. I just make one at a time, slowly, and that is just fine, really. Alright, so this is BB's, customized with black venom. Let us start with the basics. I will go over this watch for everyone again, even though I have talked about it before. It is an ODM substitute spring bar. The lume filling on the dial markers and hands gives off a strong greenish glow. Why? Because the 324 model has a particularly strong greenish glow. It comes with an enlarged and thickened ODM date display. This date display, combined with a custom ODM hand, gives a very neat overall effect. Take a look at the lume filling. It's extremely fine and delicate. The sunburst pattern on the dial and the brushed finish are also very refined and not rough at all. You can really feel the quality. The overall color transitions smoothly from grey in the center to black at the edges, and this gradient from grey to black is very pleasing and comfortable to look at. Also, each number from 1 to 12 is CNC machined and polished without any noticeable burrs or excess glue. At a fixed angle, we used infrared to calibrate and secure it, so each number is also fixed in place, very precise. We also made the solid central axis. So that's basically the overall situation with this watch. It's just like this, truly top-notch with the 324 movement. This was also a custom order from a female enthusiast who approached me. You might not have imagined that these 2 watches were both custom ordered by a beautiful lady. One is for herself and the other is for her husband. 2 top-tier watches, both excellent. That's all for this watch, since I've already done a very detailed review of it before. Let me insert a particularly important point here that I forgot to mention earlier regarding the assembly details of the hand grenade watch. You might not be very familiar with this. The case of the hand grenade is actually separate. When we disassemble it, the outer ring, this part is called the outer ring, and this position is called the middle case. They can be completely taken apart. They are 2 separate parts. So, when we're assembling it, or if you're buying from the Alphabet factory, whether it's 3K or ZF, if you've bought one before, you can pick up your watch right now and take a look. You'll see that the case is an octagonal case. Everyone can take a look. Point to the distinct corners of the octagonal bezel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are indeed 8 prominent corners, confirming it's an octagon. In fact, if we carefully look at the side, we can clearly see that it's but time. It possesses 8 distinct lines, 8 defined edges. Whether it's 3K or ZF, when they assemble the bezel and the case, they basically can't align them perfectly. Let's see how well we can align them. First, there's an edge here on the case, right? It lines up exactly with the edge on the bezel. This is how we assembled it, not how it comes from the 3K factory. The 3K factory's assembly is misaligned. Our assembly is especially precise. See, we've paid attention to these details, aligning this spot with this line. These 2 lines are aligned, and this line is aligned with this one. Next, on the bezel, there's a line here, and above it, there's another line. This line, and the lugs are cut and aligned perfectly. Everything is lined up. Look here, there's a line, and here there's another line that's aligned. Even this spot here is aligned as well. We've made every effort to refine all these details to match the original as closely as possible and avoid any issues. Even these blackened parts, whenever we've disassembled and reassembled them, every single point is perfectly aligned. I've also taken some photos here, and I've attached them to the public screen. You can take a look at these points. Maybe you don't care about them, and that's fine. But once you do care, and you notice that the watch you bought isn't aligned, it can be really frustrating. The line between the bezel and the midcase is aligned very precisely by us. Including here, even though it's an oval shape, it actually has 8 dividing lines like this. We align every single line, making sure each one is perfectly matched up. If you don't do any modifications and just buy a 3K watch, then you shouldn't expect this point to be perfectly aligned. Don't expect it. Most 3K watches aren't aligned that precisely, though the deviation won't be too significant either. It's only when we're modifying or disassembling the watch that we'll realign and adjust this point. Alright, I hope everyone can understand and recognize this issue. We've already discussed comparisons with ZF and with other brands on the market. If you're interested, you can look back at our previous reviews. Today though, we still want to focus on talking about this BB Black Final, since my pronunciation isn't great, this globally limited edition watch. First, let's appreciate the unique charm of its color combination. The red on its dial matches perfectly with the red of our rubber strap, rather than using the kind of, for example, for this strap, we use a natural rubber strap. Why? Because silicone straps tend to look a bit translucent and shiny on the surface, giving off a semi-transparent feel, so the silicone vibe is quite strong. In contrast, a rubber strap feels much more pure. It's thicker and also more comfortable. The original authentic version also uses a rubber strap, not a silicone one. So for this strap, we custom made a rubber strap that matches the dial color very closely, rather than using silicone. Even some lettered factories claim their straps are rubber, but you can check for yourself. When you get it in hand, see if the surface has that slightly translucent, semi-transparent look. If the brightness is quite strong, it's usually silicone, not rubber. Our meticulously designed dial, the precisely crafted hands, and the clear date display are all custom made as well. They are still expertly produced by our dedicated ODM studio, so you can truly feel the significant difference, including the prominent abbreviation BV at the 6 o'clock position. Our printed markers are also very close to the original, especially the rectangular markers above the 12, 1, and 2 o'clock positions. You can also take a closer look and feel it. It's three-dimensional double layer effect. Let's zoom in for a better view. I think with a macro shot it will be even more intuitive. It's very full, has thickness, and features a double layered edged corner effect. It's not flat, see? It's double layered. We've tried our best to match the texture of the original. This includes all the numbers 4, 5, 6, and 7, the CNC machined effect, including the sides. If we look at the polishing, it's also very clean and neat, with no obvious burrs or marks. We use this fixed type of opening combined with an interlocking adhesive method. There are absolutely no traces of glue or adhesive, which is excellent. This also includes the filling of the luminous powder, the actual polishing of the pin shaft and hands. This is a glossy black DLC coated hand, and the entire hand is filled with black luminous powder. It's extremely clean and delicate. You can really feel it. Very clean and delicate, with no damage, no scratches, and no burrs at all. This is the quality of our replacement hands. Also, on the dial, the Patek Philippe English print is fine. Three-dimensional, clean, crisp, and reflective. Take a look at the font printing. It's just like the original version. Both the 3K and ZF date windows are a bit small, which is an issue many enthusiasts are already aware of. The official price is about 500,000 over 3 years, around 500,000. This BB's black lacquer flows to the bottom. Okay, regarding this watch, basically, with all these details added, we've covered pretty much everything. These 3 watches have basically all been introduced to you now, even though they are all. There are many watch models that everyone is quite familiar with, but I still wanted to use this video to share as many of the subtle differences in the details as possible. Alright, see you next time.